So there it is, flat. But then when your recipient takes it out, they just have to bend it a little bit and it pops up. And I thought those cows are so cute. Zoe's going to love this one. I'm going to send this one to her. She's into puns and things like that. So when it says, "Cow's it going?" she's going to laugh and giggle with it. With Remy, I'm going to do the pigs. And I've got a thing with hers. So, all right. So let's get started. Let's start with our cardstock first. So the first thing you need is a piece that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it's scored at the 2 3/4. Let me take it down a little bit more so you can see it. All right, I can't go any further because of my iPad. So, there. Well, you still can't see it. I will post the measurements and everything else. Then you need a piece that's 2 by 4 1/2, and you score it at 1/2 inch, 2 1/4, and 4 inches. And then the last piece of cardstock you need is a piece that's 1 1/4 by 6 1/2, and it's scored at 1/2 inch on each end. So those are your cardstock pieces. Now I based the color of my cardstock on my DSP, and I pulled out the flowers from Best Dressed. And they say Old Olive and Pretty Peacock. I put this on here. That's Mint Macaron, and that is Mossy Meadow. So that's why I went with Mossy Meadow. So just because it says that's the color on the back doesn't mean there aren't other colors that you can use. So you need a piece of DSP that's 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to get layered on there. Then you need a piece that's 1 3/4 by 3 1/2. It's a lot less than that because it's only going on the front. These two pieces fold back and attach, and you don't need to put DSP on there. And then on the long one, you need a piece that's 1 by 5 1/2, and the same is true for it. It's going to be mounted on there. So first thing we need to do, we'll put the card together, and I'm going to move this off, and I am not going to fold because if you fold it and then attach, it doesn't always lay right. So I'm going to add this piece on here, and I'm using the glue. When I made mine earlier, I did use my ATG gun, and it works with that also. All right, but there you go. You don't want it, how do I say this? You don't want to fold it and put it in there because then it's gonna pull from the edges. All right, so there's that piece. Now this piece, and I will fold the ends. Use my bone folder on this. We have had, and this one, these two fold back like this, and this one folds this way. And I did it that way because I want to remember which way it folds. Now this piece goes on. We had gorgeous weather today. I looked at one time and it was like 77 on my car thermometer. We're supposed to be close to 80 tomorrow. And then this goes in between those score lines. Okay. So after you get it on there, just kind of, it probably does better with tape than the glue. So there's that one. And now we've got this last piece. And this piece gets folded back. And this one gets folded back. All right, and this piece goes in between those score lines. Okay. I'm not worried about which way it's going because at this point I can put it on the card any way I want. All right. And then what I did is I folded it back because sometimes there's just a tiny, tiny piece, a sliver on the sides that needs to come off like that. So you might need to cut a sliver off. And that's just, it's going to happen because of the folding. So I just cut it off. All right. Get that out. Okay. Now, the first thing we need to do is we want, now that we've got our pieces, you don't want to put this together until you have your stamps done. And I'm going to use this pig and this pig. And I will tell you, I have cut off my sentiments because then I can use the pigs the way I want. And I am going to use the hugs and kisses. Remy will get a kick out of that. And I will show you how I can put it back together after I get it stamped. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be using crumb cake or soft suede. I'm thinking crumb cake might be too light. So I'm going to try it and see. And I am cutting these out. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, so I'm going to be using crumb cake. Oh, and I don't have a piece of, I'm going to do two of those. I don't have a piece of, a scrap of white. So let me get a scrap of white to do my hugs and kisses. I want a skinny one. So I can use my favorite little punch to do the ends. All right, I'm gonna, oh, crooked. Let's try it down on this end. Messed that one up. Pressing too hard. There's my towel. I'm gonna clean it off a little. Okay. Now, it looks like it's straight. Ah, that's good enough. Sometimes it takes a few tries. All right, to do my ends, I have this banner punch that was from several years ago. There was a stamp set that matches it. And if you stick it in between the cutting blades and stick it in there and center it, oops, too close, you get a perfect end. I'm going to flip this one around and do this one at the same time. Then my sentiment's ready to go. I love this punch. If you have this punch, use it. It can't be any, you can't go up to 3/4 of an inch. So it's like 5/8 of an inch is the widest that will work. So keep that in mind. All right, let me get my scissors out. Oops, my papers are all stuck. Let's cut these out. And I am not cutting the grass out with them. I'm going to cut around it. So I'm just going to, oops, I need to do their hooves. Good thing I saw that before I went too far, and I thought I was prepared. Goodness gracious. Got to do their hooves. And I might do the tail in the pink also, so it shows up a little better. And I am using the skinny end of the marker. Now you guys know you can refill your markers, don't you? You can also refill this end. And if you get, if the tip gets smushed, which has happened to mine with using them in workshops, people think they're like the old-fashioned markers and you have to press. The tip gets ruined. And if you don't have a good tip like that on it, you can pull that out and put in a new one and be set to go, which I love. Now this is Petal Pink. So I'm going to just color his tail just to give it a little bit of interest. And cutting these out isn't hard. I think I'll do his snout too, but I can use the bigger tip. Just to give him a little interest. And I'll add some pink to his ears. There we go. Oh, he's so cute. All right, now I can cut. All right, so I'm cutting a little away from the stamped edge, so there'll be a little bit of a border around it. You have to be careful not to cut the tail off. All right, come on. If I was thinking, I should have cut this ahead of time. Okay, sorry about that. It's my friend. She obviously forgot that I have Facebook Live. All right, ladies, what stamp sets have you been playing with lately? I've been using a lot from the Occasions catalog. Quite a variety of different ones, just because I like it. That was my friend Amanda, who's a demonstrator in Chicago, and I sent her a text this morning because she had called me yesterday to talk, and we were at lunch, and I said, I'm out at lunch with girlfriends, and she says, okay, call when you can. So I sent her a text this morning and says, I'll be running errands, but I'm around. And she says, it's crazy here. Their high school closed because somebody in the high school tested positive for the coronavirus. So they're all home with their families, I guess, waiting to see if they come down with symptoms. Is anybody still there? Oh, you haven't played with anything in particular? Betty Ann? Oh, I have to ask you, have you guys seen all the crazy coronavirus jokes on Facebook? Oh my gosh, they are so funny, some of them. I mean, it is a serious situation, but... And then people are saying, what is the deal with toilet paper? Well, obviously these people have never been in a snowstorm where you couldn't get out for a week or more. And I mean, that happened to us several times in Maryland. So you learned, always have toilet paper. And if it's a snowstorm, it's bread and milk also. I remember it was, many years ago in Maryland. There was a hurricane that came through. I know, Barb, you've shown me some of yours. They're so cute. And we didn't have electricity. And for over a week, I lived in a rural area with lots of trees. And so consequently, the trees knocked out the power. So people couldn't flush their toilets. Most of the people where I lived were on wells. And if you don't have electricity, you don't have water. So they were using pool water to flush toilets. And it was like, didn't you people learn when you grew up? I mean, I grew up every time there was a snowstorm that they were predicting. You filled your tub with water so that you could take and flush your toilet. It's like, okay, maybe they don't, maybe you people don't know about that, but if you've lived in the country, you should. All right, now this piece is going to get glued on here, and it goes at the very bottom and side to side. And if you don't use glue, you're going to need to use sticky tape on this because it's got to be able to hold up. So you want to put this side down first, hold it in place, and then put that side. And it's going to come up a little bit because you want your sides even. Oops, it's not even at the bottom. Come on, come on. Slide, slide. There we go. Okay. Oh my gosh, for a week with the baby. Goodness gracious. All right, this one goes on next, and this one is tricky. So what you want to do, so let's see, is there a right and a wrong way? Yep, that to me looks right side up. I know these say that there isn't a direction to them, but some of them do to me. So what I did was I held this piece back, and this piece goes under here, and it gets put down, and you hold it, and you want to try and center it side to side. It's not, there's a little bit of, if you can see, it's not perfectly flat, and that's because of the fold in it, but that helps it pop up, and that's how you get that pop-up. This to me was the hardest part, was this one. It's like, how does that go on there? And now we've got all our pieces and we're ready to put it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little piggy up here, and I'm going to use my glue because it gives me a little wiggle room, like so. And then this pig is going to go down here. And if you looked at this one, I had these two, but it needed something here, so I just did a different one. And it fit in, and I thought, well, I'll do the same thing here. So I'm going to put him down here, like so. That one's all crooked, but that's all right. Remy won't care. This goes on with dimensionals. So let me get those. And you just need one at each end. And again, I use half ones because I had a neighbor when it was when I was first married, and she was pregnant, and we lived a couple of blocks from the hospital, and she went into labor during the snowstorm. She actually walked there because there was so much snow everywhere, nobody could do anything. All right, now I'm going to put this one down at the bottom. And I did my pigs in pink All right, and the pink is the same, supposed to be as the same as that, but as you can see, it says Petal Pink, and that's my Petal Pink, but sometimes Blushing Bride to me matches better. So there it is. There they are, the two of them.